What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening to the podcast version or you're not catching the live version. But we are here at WIDR WIDR Radio Kalamazoo. Thank you for tuning in, man. So we're going to get straight into this topic. And I'm going all off. I'm going from James Harden. I want to start at James Harden. He's an interesting player, very skillful. He does his thing on the court. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him, but I like to give the truth. I like to speak the truth and speak facts about it. So Harden, he recently just became the first player in NBA history to score 30 points against 29 other teams in one season. And you know, that's cool and all. That's a great achievement. I appreciate it. And I like it. I like the stats. Everything is a big deal nowadays with the media. People is driving it out of proportion, things like that. Oh, well, Harden is the best scorer. Harden is almost the best scorer to ever live. Give him a few more years. Things like that. I'm hearing all these little crazy comments about it. And I get it. James Harden is nice. He's a good scorer. He shoot about 14 free throws every game, so that's pretty ridiculous as well. You give a lot of players that opportunity, they can put up just about the same numbers as he is. But really, the problem with me, and the problem where I start to see within this achievement, it's cute. It's a nice little regular season achievement. The MVP, stuff like that, that's cool. Harden deserved that last MVP that he got. He did his thing when he was balling. But I always think of it as, where do you go in the playoffs, James Harden? What do you do in the playoffs? Every year you have this big opportunity to show yourself and show why you should be respected more, show why you should be the man, show all of this and really show people that you're the best scorer and things like that. But come playoff time and come big game time, game 7, whatever it is, Harden is like the police in bad neighborhoods. He just don't show up. We don't know what happens, or he shows up when it's way too late. And that's the one thing I will always. I'll continue to say this over and over with James Harden until he proves me wrong. Until hopefully it's this year. Hopefully it's this year where he comes in the playoffs and he decides that he wants to actually show up and show out and play hard and do his thing and actually arrive in big games and show up. Because last year, I keep bringing it up because in my belief, I believe the Warriors are gonna take it again. Or if not the Warriors, maybe Thunder can give them a run for their money, things like that. The Rockets, if they stay healthy, it can go either way. But it's hard for me to fully dedicate to the Rockets when I know their star player may not show up come big game time. If they go to 7, it's a chance James Harden might not show up. And that's the only thing that worries me about the Rockets, because think of the game 7 with the Warriors when they went to game 7. James Harden or Chris Paul. Chris Paul was out. Chris Paul was injured. So he was not able to play game 7. And I'm a firm believer that if Chris Paul would have played in that game 7 against the Warriors, that they would have won. They would have won. And Rockets possibly could have been champions of that year, because I for sure think they would have beat Cleveland. But you think about that, and Chris Paul was out. Only other star player they had was James Harden. He's supposed to be the man. You're telling me for one game, just one single game, James Harden couldn't step up and give us one of those regular season performances? He couldn't give us one of them? He couldn't give us a crazy 50-point game that he was putting up in the MVP season and stuff like that? You mean to tell me he couldn't give us for one game, your most important game of the entire season is on the line? Like, you're done playing if you lose this game. You mean to tell me you're going to go out there and you're going to shoot 2 for 13 from the 3-point line? That's the kind of performance you're going to give when you know you're the only hope. You're the only hope for your team to advance. And y'all had the momentum. Because people thought the Warriors was going to get it done before it got to that point. So y'all had the momentum. And I get Chris Paul going down really hurt them. But like I said, I hate to keep bringing it up, but until James Harden shows me that he can do something in the playoffs, it's going to be hard for me to put him up there with names like Kobe, Mike, and even LeBron, to be honest. And personally, nothing against Harden. because this is a good achievement and stuff like that. You know, he's one of the MVP candidates and stuff like that. Yes, the MVP voting, it can go either way. At this point in the season, it can go to anybody, and it will still be well deserved. I strongly earlier in the season, I said James Harden really deserved it because he was literally doing everything for his team. He was putting up triple doubles, 50-point triple doubles, and things like that, and he was still getting it done with his team. Not only was he winning, but he was still having great numbers as well. But that was something that he had to do. So earlier in the season, I was riding the wave of James Harden needs to get the MVP, because if he wasn't there, he's literally the most valuable player to his team. So earlier, that's what I was going with. And as we kept going down the line, players have been playing great. My favorite now is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I really hope he wins it, but I'll get into that discussion a little later. However, James Harden, he plays great. He plays great scorer, things like that. But in my opinion, I don't even think he's the best scorer in the league. Now, before you assume that I'm just straight up hating on James Harden, that is not the case. I'm not just hating on him, and I'm not saying he's not one of the best scorers in the league, because he's for sure one of the best scorers in the league. If you watch the NBA, you know James Harden can score the ball. He can get to the cup. He can do a lot of things with the ball. So I'm not saying he's not one of the best scorers, but he is not the best scorer. The best scorer is Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant wasn't in the league, then maybe I could say James Harden got it under control and things like that. But it's something about his style of play. It's a little different. James Harden has a slightly different style of play, and him shooting a lot of free throws in the game really helps out as well. But it's tough, man, because it's hard for me to say somebody's a winner or acknowledge someone as a winner and things like that, or say they're all about winning and things like that, when come playoff time, where it's the most important games of the year, you don't show up. That's my only problem with James Harden. Now, luckily or hopefully Chris Paul stays healthy, because he does help James Harden out a whole lot when he is healthy on the court, because James Harden doesn't have to do everything. He doesn't have to do every single thing on the court. So hopefully Chris Paul does stay healthy. I think they'll be able to make a good run if Chris Paul is healthy and everybody else on that team stays healthy, especially depending on who people play in the Western Conference. That plays a huge part in it, because the Western Conference is stacked. And there is also a team that's very underrated right now called the Los Angeles Clippers. People don't pay them no mind because of the Lakers, but the Clippers, they definitely play like they got something to prove. And people should definitely watch out for that, because if you play around, or if James Harden come with that half step and stuff that he was doing in the playoffs, shooting bad and all of that fake stuff that he was doing, Clippers might just get you out of there, because them boys is hungry and they play hard. I'll talk about the Clippers a little more later on, but they play hard. And if the Rockets really want to get stuff done, man, they just gonna have to. Everybody's gonna have to show up and play hard. They got to stay healthy, make sure, because injuries are a huge part. Right now, Rockets are sitting at number 3, so they'll most likely be probably playing San Antonio Spurs or Oklahoma City. And either way, that's not an easy game, regardless of who you're playing, whether you're playing the San Antonio Spurs or Oklahoma City. You can't either preference that you pick. It's going to be a tough game. Greg Popovich, we don't see him go out the first round too often. No, we don't see that happen too often. And regardless of who he has on his team, you know he's always cooking up with some kind of weapons. And if not weapons, he got a game plan ready for you. And it's gonna be tough. And if you choose OKC over the Spurs, then you got to worry about Westbrook and Paul George coming at you hard. And either way, so it's just, look, these playoffs. Hopefully James Harden show up. I want to see. I'm actually rooting for it, because I'm gonna tell you like this. I talk about the Warriors winning the championship all the time. I say, well, nobody's gonna beat them. I'll believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. But I believe it or not, I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing the Warriors just take the throne, man. They really just kill everybody when they play, and the team is unfair. So I'm really tired of seeing the Warriors. So I'm rooting for a team to beat the Warriors. Like it excites me of how much, or the possibility of other teams in the West beating the Golden State Warriors.